To rent or to buy? This is a question on the minds of many people, obviously for many, many years. And specifically now where the mortgage rates are higher than they were in the entire decade and the decade before that. So a very quick about mortgage rates. They might stay higher for longer. They might, improve a little bit. We are unlikely to see the 2 or 3 handle like we saw, during the pandemic. So that question becomes even more profound: to buy or to rent. Today, we're going to talk about pluses and minuses for each, and I'd like to invite you to decide and to comment what would work for you and why. I'm Robert Niazov, your trusted mortgage source. Now let's begin. So let's start with, renting. What are the pluses, and are there pluses of renting? In my opinion, there's nothing wrong with renting for those who prefers to do this or, decides that owning a home is not for them. We'll talk about some, challenges and minuses, some disadvantages with this. But first, let's talk about the pluses. The plus number one, you have easier mobility. You sign the lease for 1 year or 2 years, and you want to move to a different part of town or move to another state or even overseas. It's much, much easier to just return it to the landlord and be free. Plus number two, if you need to make any repairs, your bathroom is clogged or whatever, you call the landlord or management company and that they do this for you, and you don't need to pay for this. Okay, there is another plus where you don't need to, when you buy, you see you have to come with a lot more money because you need to put a down payment, there's closing costs. It's a lot lower investment of money to become a renter. Okay, so those are, all the positives. One other thing to consider is obviously, especially in those places where rent is not regulated as most of the country, that landlords may command market rents. They regulate within themselves. They say, okay, you know what, your rent will be increased by 10% this year. Either take it or move out. So you are not protected from those rent increases when you're a renter. That's another thing to consider between buying and renting. One other thing that I love about owning a home is you can never come out with zero. It's not like a stock that you can buy, let's say for $50, buy 10 shares of that stock, spend $500, the company goes bankrupt, you lost $500. So that's prevalent in any investment of stock. House is not like this. Even if your house burns down, God forbid, you have insurance to replace it. But let's say you don't want to replace it. For example, you will always have at least land, so it will never be zero like a stock market. Obviously, the first big advantage of being a homeowner is building up equity. Everybody knows that prices go up over time, and has been proven in the history for many, many years, and it's likely to continue this way. So what happens? Let's just say you buy a home for $400,000, and let's just assume that it only goes up by 3% a year. So in the first year, that's $12,000 appreciation. In our language, we call it building equity. You see, you paid for 100, now you have for 12. In a few years, maybe you'll have for 40, then for 60, etc. You will have some periods of time when the prices maybe deteriorate, but overall, they go up. If you see, I believe in one of my previous videos, I used that example. I had a newspaper from about 100 years ago in the neighborhood where I used to live, not far from where I live now, and the house prices were between $7,000 to $8,000 in 1925. Today, the same house, and I actually drove by it, some features still remain. Today, that house, the asking price is well over $1 million. Okay, so when you rent, you cannot enjoy that appreciation. The second plus of being a homeowner, of course, is it's your own home. You can do whatever you want with it. You cannot, no one will tell you tomorrow, okay, your time is finished. I decided to move in here myself. It is yours. You can do whatever you want inside. It's your investment. You obviously protect it in a different manner. So that to me is another plus. With all the pluses of owning a home, there are obviously challenges. For example, right now, in places like Florida and Texas, the cost of insurance is through the roof. It's very expensive. People are realizing this, that something that was costing them, let's say, $2,000, I'm just making it up, $2,000 a year, now could be $6,000, $7,000. That's triple. And many homeowners are saying, look, this is not something I can afford. And they don't even know if this is the end. It might even get worse. Why specifically Florida and Texas? Because those are areas that are prone to be affected by natural disasters more than many other places, like hurricanes or tornadoes, etc. So because of this, obviously it costs the insurers, and they pass that cost to policy holders through increased premiums. So many people think, well, you know what, instead of me holding this home, let's say with $8,000 insurance per year, maybe I'll just sell it and either move out or I'll go renting. So insurance cost in those areas, the disastrous areas, is definitely a concern of being a homeowner. Let's continue comparing rent and own. One of the things that goes for rent and against owning a home is obviously the expense, the carrying expense of the house. You see, things break down. The roof may leak. You might have, the ant infestation. You might have something broken. It's obviously things do not last forever. So the expense of carrying a house or carrying your own residence is normally much larger than being a renter. So, that's another factor that people should really take into consideration if they want to buy a rent. Despite this, obviously, it's not stopping many people, but nevertheless, this is something people should be aware of. Now, let's put together kind of a summary of expenses. So let's say you decided to rent. What you normally need is a first month rent and first security deposit. Okay, that's what all you need to get. And let's just, in dollar terms, let's say you want to rent for $2,500 per month. So all you need is $500 plus moving expenses. But moving expenses for the most part are the same. If you need to bring your stuff. Now, when you buy a home, that could be different. That could be between 1 to 3.5% down or more, and closing cost. This, which could, range from, $2,000 to $25,000, $30,000, and $100,000 in some cases, depending on what you're buying, depending where you're buying. So the outlay of money for buying a home is definitely a lot larger. Okay. Secondly, when you buy a home, because it's your home, many times you decide to do some renovations there, even if they're light, even to, paint the walls or maybe replace the windows. So those are the things that any future homeowner or renter should definitely consider. Owning a home comes with expense, but also comes with enjoyment of it more, and the feeling of accomplishment, in my opinion, is a lot greater. One thing is a fact: the average wealth, and you will see it on the chart here, average wealth of a renter is a lot less compared to a homeowner. So, and it has to do with several factors. Number one, as I told you, the appreciation. because someone told me, well, you know what, the rate is right now 8%, for example, or 7%, doesn't matter. I probably will wait and continue renting until the rates improve. However, when you rent, if you think about this, your rate for the payment is 100%. Everything you're paying is, pretty much doesn't go to your pocket. At the end, the choice is yours to buy or to rent. But if you have any questions and like us to answer them, or maybe give you a pre-approval or go through the process of what buying a home would be, please feel free to contact us. You can find in the below description address to our website, rjcmortgage.com. Please visit us. We'll be happy to help you.